Evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Visa Shanmugam. I am an empowerment and mindset coach, focusing exclusively on helping women. And I am all about helping you create a life that you are obsessed with in an easy, effortless way. All right. So if you are joining me here today live, go ahead and give me a hello. If it's a replay, go ahead and give me a hello as well. Today is the launch of my 3-day mini course that I am doing, and I'm very excited about this mini course. It kind of just hit me the other day that I really wanted to do something to give even more value in this group and get you guys to journal. Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a minute to join. And then we're going to jump right into it. And even if you're watching this on replay, make sure you have a journal. Make sure you have a pen. Make sure you have a drink of your choice close by so you can take sips as we do this work. And it's going to be so much fun. All right. I promise you, you're going to get something amazing out of it in the 3 days that we're going to hang out together. And if you do the work, if you really do the work, you will get a lot of value out of it. All right. So I see somebody jumping on here live. If that's you, go ahead and give me a hello and tell me who you are so that I can acknowledge you. And I feel like I'm hanging out with someone instead of just talking to myself, all right? And I hope everyone has had a fantastic weekend. I am super excited. I got this download that I needed to do this course. And I've been, playing around in my mind about how do I share. I have so much knowledge that I want to share with you guys. And I'm very passionate about what I do, about helping women launch their spiritual journey, embark on their spiritual journey. I'm very, very passionate about that. And I've been a student of this for almost 2 years. But I know if you are new to it, it can be very overwhelming and you don't necessarily know where to start. And so that is the inspiration that I got in order to do this mini course. All right, we've got some people on here. Hi, Angela. Nice to meet you. I think you are brand new to this group. So welcome to this amazing community. I'm so excited to have you here. And I hope that you get value out of this course. All right. So I hope you have your journal ready. I hope you have a pen ready. And I wanted to start out with the meditation so we can set the intention for this mini course tonight. And then we'll launch right into it, okay? So if you are watching this on replay, you can still do the meditation with us. And I hadn't really planned on this while I was writing out what I wanted to do tonight, but it just feels right because I think it's always a great idea to set an intention before you do anything to get the most value out of it. So make sure you have your notifications turned off in whatever device you might have. Make sure your phone is on silent. And make sure that the 20 minutes, the 30 minutes that you are here, that you are giving this your full attention. Do not be distracted. If kids are around, then maybe kind of shut yourself away in a room for 20 to 30 minutes so you won't be distracted. Because when you are present and really give your entire energy to what you're doing, that's when you get the most out of doing things, doing these kind of inner work. It's really, you need to be intentional about it. And it's not just taking action. Your intention and your energy means so much when you're doing this kind of work, all right? Hi, Komal, nice to have you here today. So let's go ahead and do a very short meditation, set our intention for tonight, and then we'll get started. All right, well, if you're sitting comfortably, either crisscross applesauce, or if you're watching this in India, the reason I say crisscross applesauce, it's something that little kids learn at school on how to sit cross-legged on the floor. It's when they're told sit crisscross applesauce, and that's why my kids always say it at their school, and so I say it. So if you're sitting crisscross applesauce, that's fabulous. Or if you're sitting like me on a chair, that's fabulous as well. And oh my gosh, so I am going live on my computer as well as my phone on Instagram, and my phone is at the most horrible angle that it hits, and you can like see my tummy on my phone, and it's so unflattering, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Close your eyes and really bring yourself to the room. Take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if it helps, you can count to 4 for one breath in, and then count to 4 as you breathe out. And really start to feel the sensation of your breath in your nostrils, in your nose, and what the air feels like when you blow it out. Bring your attention to this room. Let all the noise and the chatter from the day recede. Start to really become aware of your body, the weight of your body, and let it sink into the chair or the floor. And feel the earth really supporting you. Really start to notice the sensations of your body. You might feel some tingling. Universe, our guides, our angels, we ask you for your help today in getting the most out of the work that we're about to do. Commit yourself to doing the work today. Set the intention to receive everything that you have to receive from this 3-day mini course. It could be a little, it could be a lot, but just know that you will receive exactly what it is that you're intended to receive. Open your heart wide open. And be open to receiving the messages that you need to. And know that you are here for a precise reason. That you came across this course for a very specific reason. That you were meant to do this work. That it came to you at divine timing. And promise yourself that you will do what you need to get the most out of it. And take a deep breath in. And release. And gently open your eyes. All right. I hope you enjoyed that short meditation and you feel present right now in the room that you're in and ready to do the work. All right. So I posted a post today, which obviously is the reason why you're here. And it's all about the key piece that I was missing as I embarked on this spiritual journey and spiritual transformation. And I remember I was having a session with one of my coaches. This was about a year ago. And at that time, I was solely focused on a network marketing business that I had. And it was like going against a brick wall, right? I was doing everything that I was being told to do in my network marketing business. I was doing every training there was. I was buying every digital course there was. I was working on my mindset. And I was enrolling people like crazy into my business, right? Like I was in my team, in my immediate upline, as we say it. If I was comparing myself to my peers, I was enrolling people on a regular basis. And yet every person I enrolled didn't work the business, right? So it doesn't matter how many people you enroll, if you can't team you to start building the same way that I was building, then I wasn't seeing the type of growth that I wanted. So this was extremely frustrating to me. So, and that's the reason why I hired this coach. I said, I really need your help to help me grow this business, to help me enroll even more people, to set the right team culture so that I can get these women excited to grow this business. And so it literally at that time, it physically felt like I was hitting my head against a brick wall. Every single day I woke up and it felt like I was physically hitting a wall. And it was a very dark period because I was taking all the action that was to take. And yet I was seeing no results. And I know this probably resonates with a lot of you, right? Like you're doing all the action that you were being told to take. You're doing all the right things on paper. And yet there is no result that's showing up in reality, right? If that resonates with you, give me some likes, give me some hearts, or put in the comments, yes, right? If that resonates with you. And I was there, and I have been there, and I know what that feels like. And so I remember in one of the sessions, my coach asked me the question. She goes, how much do you like yourself? And she was, listing off all the accomplishments I had made in my life, which was, graduating at the top of my class with my undergrad, graduating the top 10 in my master's, the fact that I'd been offered a job right away after every graduation, after every degree I've had. I got offered jobs right away. I'd worked for some of the top companies in the world. And when she was listing off all these accomplishments, I found fault with every single thing, right? Like it wasn't good enough for some excuse or reason that I had. And I kept brushing off everything. And that is when I had this aha moment. Not me, she actually called me out on it. And she said, you can do all the manifestation work. You can do all the law of attraction work, you can do all the mindset work, you can do all the spiritual work. But ultimately what it comes down to is none of that stuff is going to work unless you have self-love, right? And that moment I was like, it really struck me. And I was really, really taken back about what she was saying. And I really had to take that in. And the piece that had always been missing was, I thought I was doing the mindset work, and I thought I was doing the spiritual work. I was doing the visualization. I was doing the meditation. I was doing the journaling work. I was doing all of it. And yet when it came down to it, when it all boiled down to, was that I still didn't like myself enough because I kept holding off liking myself until I had achieved success, right? Does that resonate with you? Let me know if that's resonating with you. Like I was, in a way, rejecting myself on a daily basis because in my eyes, I hadn't achieved the level of success that I wanted. And so I was rejecting myself on a daily basis. And my coach actually pointed out the fact that ultimately the law of attraction, manifestation, being in flow, attracting abundance, attracting prosperity, all of that, the fundamental thing of it is self-love, is loving who you are unconditionally without any conditions, right? That's what self-love is. And self-love, it doesn't happen in one day. It is an act. It comes, when I say it's an act, what I mean by that is that it's something that you have to do on every single basis. Think about falling in love with someone, right? If you have kids, it's a different story. Like they come on, you give birth to them and you fall in love with them immediately. But think about any kind of adult relationship where you're fallen in love with someone, right? It takes time to build that relationship, to build that trust, to really get to love that person. And if you are someone who has been extremely hard on yourself, which I know almost everyone in this community and group, we're all extremely ambitious, we're hardworking, we are very independent, and we have big goals and dreams and desires. And it's like we're almost holding off liking ourselves and loving ourselves until we get to that final goal, until we get to that final gate. It's like we hold it off. And that's not what self-love is. Self-love is unconditional love. It's a state of being. And it comes from doing certain activities to support your emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical needs. And I actually had, a notes written down here is that self-love is a state of appreciation for yourself. And it grows from actions that you take to support your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual growth, right? It is a state of a constant appreciation for yourself. That's what self-love is. And for me, I realized that self-love is not something that we are taught intentionally. It's something that we observe from our surroundings. It's something that we we have to have seen it observed growing up from our parents, maybe your mother, And I don't think any adult, for me growing up, nobody talked about self-love. I didn't even know those words and that concept until I was well into my 30s. And the reason, self-love, it seems like such a foreign concept, because when you think of the word self-love, it sounds like maybe narcissistic, indulgent, wasteful, big-headed maybe. So this is like a really great time to stop for a journal prompt. And I want you to journal on, what does self-love mean to me? All right, so I'm going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to have you guys journal on, what does self-love mean to me? All right, and I'm going to give you guys maybe like a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to journal on that prompt, and I'll type it in the comments box as well. Okay, go ahead and start. And it can be words that are good. It can be words that are not so positive, right? Like I said, the words, whatever words come up, when you think of the word self-love, like whatever comes up for you, write that down. It could be good. It could be not so positive. So write those down, because when you're really honest with yourself and write the first things that come up instead of censoring it, that's really what journaling is about. Don't rationalize it. Don't try to think about whether is this a right answer, is this a wrong answer. There is no right or wrong answer. The answer is yours. That's all it is. And this is a way for you to start to understand what you believe self-love is and where you're at today, and so that you will understand where you need to go, right? So there is absolutely no judgment here. Go ahead and write about what self-love means to you and what words come up when you think of the word self-love. And as you journal, I would love for you to share some of the things. If you want to type it out in the comments box and share it with me, I would love that. Okay, I'm going to give you maybe 1 more minute, and then we'll keep going. Okay, so who feels like sharing and putting, what they journaled on, what came up when, for the journal prompt, what does self-love mean to me? Let me share with you what came up for me when I journaled on it. And this is not what would have come up, a year ago if I'd done the exercise. So for me, self-love, and I came up with necessary, gives me life, gives me joy, supports me, helps me connect to source. Self-love is sustainable. Everyone needs it. It makes the world better. Less judgment. Those are all the words that came up for me when I, journal on that. Komal, so you said self-love to you means to appreciate, acknowledge, and thank myself for my intentions, to take care of my body like a baby. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. That is amazing. Yes, taking care of our body, our physical needs is part of what self-love is. Okay, so that's great that you guys worked on that. So going back to my personal story. So when my coach uncovered this fact that I had very little love for myself, actually I had very little like for myself, I started to think back on how my relationships with my kids, with my husband, with my friends had been affected because of this lack of self-love for me. I always thought I wasn't a good friend because I always considered myself not very popular. I had, a few loyal friends, but I always wanted to be that popular girl that everyone wanted to be friends with, right? And I was never that girl. And I always put it down to the fact that, I wasn't that much fun. I wasn't that pretty. Like, these are all the things I used to tell myself about myself, right? And then at times I used to feel so guilty for the fact that my husband was married to me. I used to think that I was a burden to him. I used to think that I wasn't a very good wife because I decided to quit and be a stay-at-home mom, and that I didn't hold my end of the bargain, right? Because when we got married, I told him that I'd always loved to work and I wanted to be an independent woman. But then after kids, I changed my mind. So I really felt in my heart like I had betrayed him. And I felt like I was just this waste of space. It's truly what I felt, you guys. I truly felt like I was a waste of space, that I didn't deserve him. And that I'd gone back on my word to him, and I felt so guilty for leaving all the financial pressure on him. So that's how it affected my relationship with my husband. And imagine with me carrying all of that, I didn't really share much of this with him. If I had all of those beliefs about myself, and if I didn't like myself enough, how do you think the relationship was between us? If I was always feeling guilty and bad for us being married, and I didn't blame him, like I felt I was the one that he got the short end of the stick, right? That's how I felt. And so imagine, but that comes out in a different way, right? In a relationship, I used to be so passive aggressive with him. I used to take my own insecurities out on him, right? And in my jobs, I was always so worried about getting fired because I didn't really think that I was a great employee. And every time I ever got called into a manager's office, it could just be for like a normal meeting or, like maybe a brainstorming session, whatever. Anytime somebody called me for anything, my first thought would be, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired. And at the time I had these thoughts, I didn't link it to the fact, oh, it's a lack of self-love. Like, it's so far away, those two concepts, right? Like, it makes no sense. But after I'd had this aha moment with my coach, I was like, holy crap, like that's what everything stemmed from, is this complete lack of self-love for me. I had no connection to me, like the essence of me, and this soul inside of me. I had no connection to that whatsoever. How could I if I was rejecting every aspect of myself on a daily basis? I rejected myself when I looked in the mirror. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't think I was that pretty. I didn't like the way my body looked. Almost everyone who saw me would say what a great figure I had, but I didn't feel that way. We all have issues, right? And anytime, I didn't think I was such a great cook. I didn't think I was such a great mother. And worst, like the biggest problem with myself was that I didn't think I was successful. Okay? Don't ask me what I thought success would look like. I probably wouldn't have been able to give you an answer. But everything I measured myself against, I fell behind on. And I don't know where these shortcoming feelings come from. I really don't. And if you are watching this and you are in that space, give me some hearts and likes. You don't have to comment. I know sometimes, these are very private feelings and you don't want to share that with the world. I totally understand. But, it would be a great thing for you to share because it means that you're not alone. And everybody feels this way. I promise you, it's not just you. You felt exactly like that in your college. Yes, I did too, Kamal. I really felt like I never fit in anywhere. That everybody got along better with each other than they did with me, and people I thought would just tolerate me, or if ever I hung out in a room with the group of people, I was usually the one in the corner wondering what I can do to make the conversation more interesting, right? That's how I felt. And this all comes from overthinking. This all comes from not liking and loving yourself enough because you feel like you are not enough, right? Like that is what this is. And that's why I am so passionate about this topic of self-love, because it really is the fundamental, I got an angry face. I hope, hopefully that was an accident. And self-love really to me is the missing piece in all of this, in the law of attraction, in this whole manifestation thing, and trying to attract abundance and prosperity and everything else that I teach. The one single variable that ties it all together is self-love. Without self-love, forget it. You're not going to be able to do anything else, because if you read all the texts about all of these topics, it ultimately comes down to one thing. It is being so secure in who you are as an individual. It is knowing your self-worth. And how do you know your self-worth? It's to truly love who you are today. Not the version of you 10 years from the future, not the version of you 3 months from now when you get that job, not the version of you, when you get the body in 6 months down the road because you're now working out and eating better. It is loving yourself unconditionally for the way you are today, right? That's essentially what self-love is. And most women on here, you are not probably giving yourself self-love. Even though you might think I like myself, I bet you if we were to sit down here and have a session and dig deeper and peel back the layers, there's probably so many parts of you that you are rejecting, okay? And until you learn to accept and love every aspect of yourself, it's not going to be effortless. It's not going to be effortless. We want it to be effortless and easy in creating this life that we desire and having these amazing relationships with our spouse, with having these amazing relationships with our kids, and having an amazing job, an amazing career. And it works backwards, right? Most of us think by rejecting and self-criticizing and being super judgmental on ourselves that that's going to drive us even harder to be better. But it's completely counterproductive, because as you chip away at yourself and reject yourself, you are chipping away and putting up blocks on source energy that is really trying to help you achieve all of your goals and desires. Source is always trying to get you what you want. But as we reject ourselves on a daily basis, from the small things to the big things, you are literally building a wall brick by brick and keeping source energy away, so that the law of attraction is not working for you, so that you're not able to manifest the things that you want, and so that all the things that you want in your life are literally being pushed away and kept at bay because you are rejecting parts of yourself. Okay? All right, I'm going to read a comment here. Angela, I felt that way for a long time until I started my own healing and inner journey and learning where those beliefs come from and that they are not true. Yes, 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 yes. I love that so much. And I am in exactly the same boat as you, Angela. Until I started healing all those wounds, which at that time I didn't even know I had any, I realized that self-love is huge aspect. And it's so exhausting. You don't realize, by rejecting so many parts of yourself, how heavy that feels on your shoulders and what a burden you're carrying, because you're living with this person 24/7 that you don't like very much and that you don't love very much, essentially, right? That's essentially what it is. Imagine living with somebody 24/7, that you cannot get away from them, and you are constantly putting them down, or they are putting you down, right? Because it's your mind always telling you that you're not good enough, that you suck as a mother, that you suck as an employee, that you suck at this, you can't keep a clean house, you can't make enough money, you don't have enough time in the day, you can't be present with your kids in the moment, can't. You are living with this person 24/7 that is constantly putting you down and constantly rejecting you, constantly tearing you down. What do you think is going to happen to the things that you're trying to attract into your life? Those things that you're trying to attract into your life is going to be like, I don't know whether I want to go to that person who's constantly putting herself down. I think I'm just going to wait till she feels better about herself, right? And that's why I decided to do this 3-day course, because I teach about all of these other things, manifestation and abundance and flow and forgiving others and forgiving yourself. And I realized, like, if you really trace it all back and, take it to the core of what all of this stems from, it is self-love. And it is a concept that I wish I had been taught from a very young age. Today, I teach my kids all the time. Don't worry about what others think of you. Only worry about what you think about yourself. If it feels right to you, then it is right to the world, right? Don't care about what even, myself and your dad think of you, right? If you believe in something, stand up for it. And that's part of self-love. Hi, Divya, you can relate to that. Yes, it is exhausting. And I didn't realize at the end of the day why I was so bitter and angry all the time. It's because, the person who was supposed to love me the most, me, I was doing a horrible job of it. And I imagine somebody putting you down constantly all day long. No wonder we all feel so bitter and angry and guilty at the end of the day. And so, self-love is not only the biggest gift that you can give to yourself. I promise you, it is the start of unlocking everything that you've ever wanted in your life. It is the start of unlocking everything that you've ever wanted in your whole life. If you read all the texts and the books in the world, when you boil it down and look at what is the one core thing that I can take away from this book, it's loving, it's self-love. That's all what it boils down to. And then spreading that love and light to the world. All right, so my second question that we are going to sign off with today is, how do I show myself love in the present moment, in the present day? How do I show myself love today? Okay, that is the second journal prompt, so I'm going to put that down. So get started on that, and I'll give you a few minutes. And I'm going to journal with you guys, okay? Okay, hey Neha, you joined us late, but that's okay. Go over the video, the replay, and then work through the journal prompts that I've given you, okay? And I hope you had a fantastic weekend, and I know you went on a retreat. Oh, don't be sorry. It's okay. I know not everyone will be able to make every class, but the replay is going to be up for a few days. So definitely take the time to watch the replay and do the journaling prompts, okay? So this is the list that I came up with, and I hope some of you will share what you came up with and how you show yourself love today. This list is long. Before it was like super short. Dancing in the shower, like I love dancing, I love taking showers, and I love good music. So I put all three together. I have Google Play in my bathroom, and so I can be in the shower and shout out commands, and I'll be like, hey Google, play this song, and I will dance in the shower, you guys. It is so fun. Like, it's such a high vibe thing for me. Like, it might not work for you at all, but I highly recommend you to try it, because you don't know what's going to work for you and what's not unless you try it. And this is my daily morning routine. When I'm taking a shower, I turn on the music really loud, and I have certain music that I listen to that's super fun. I don't know whether you guys know of the artist Megan Trainor. She is a huge pop artist, and I love her music. It's like poppy dance, and it just puts a huge smile on my face. And she has this one song called If I Were You, I'd Want to Be Me Too. Like, I think, talk about self-love. This chick, she's a young girl. She is so confident, and she loves herself. She loves herself so much, and I think she's a great role model for young girls. And she made a song, and it says, if I were you, I'd want to be me too. That's how much she loves herself. She's like, I don't want to be anyone else. I think if you were you, you'd want to be me too, because of how amazing I am, right? So that's kind of like my anthem in the morning. I put it on and I dance in the shower. So that's one of the ways I show myself self-love. Meditation, journaling, uncluttering my house. It might not sound like much, but I want to enjoy the house that I live in. I want to feel blissful when I walk into my house. And one of the things that my husband and I have really worked on in the last month is uncluttering our house. We didn't realize how much clutter we have. And every room that we went into, I'd walk in and I'd be like, oh, like it would literally feel icky to me when I walked in the room. It wouldn't feel clean and clean lines, you know. We have really great stuff in our house, but I just wasn't enjoying my house because there was just so much clutter everywhere. So one of the ways that I have shown myself self-love is to have great spaces that I can honor myself and that I can do my work in, that I can enjoy being with my kids and my husband. And so we've really taken the time to unclutter everything. Divya, taking time for myself, going to the gym or meeting a friend. Yes, taking time for yourself is one of the most important ways that we can show ourselves self-love. You know, I put down, this is very general, but putting my needs first. And what do I mean by that? So the other day, I was super tired. My sink looked disgusting. There were so many dishes overflowing from, you know, probably eating in the last 24 hours. And I wanted to go to bed. And in the past, I'd have been like, well, the perfect mother and the perfect wife will do the dishes. And then, like, she has to have a clean house, right? Like, that is a good mom and a good wife in my head. That's what it was. And so I would have put the fact that I was absolutely exhausted and that I had a pounding headache aside, and I would have done the dishes, just because my inner voice would have been telling me that you're not good enough unless you do the dishes before you go to bed, right? It's something that my mother drilled into me. Like, still to this day, she does not go to bed and leave the dishes in the sink. And so, like, 2 days ago, I was like, screw this, I'm going to bed. Like, it was 8 o'clock at night. I really didn't care. And I went to bed, and I was so proud of myself because that's what I needed. That's what my body needed. That's what I mentally needed. And I just left the sink. Like, who cares if your sink is dirty, right? The next day. So if that's you, if I'm talking to you and you're like, I do that, like, just take a night off and just leave the dishes. It's all right. Nobody's going to judge you. You are the only one judging yourself, right? Getting enough sleep, that's a huge way I show myself self-love. I've just talked about that. Like, if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not of use to anyone. I'm not of service to the world. I can't show up the way I do in front of this camera. I can't show up for my kids as a patient loving mother. I'm usually really snappy if I haven't had enough sleep. So to this day, on weekends, I take naps. I know that sounds really probably like old womanish, but I need naps. I need a ton of sleep, you guys, because of my autoimmune disease. Like I don't function if I don't sleep. And so I get sometimes my energy just like goes like when I don't sleep. And so I have to have lots of sleep. And I used to, again, despise myself for having to take naps. Like I would hate it that my body just wouldn't respond to me the way I wanted it to. And now I've just embraced it. It's just something that my body needs and I'm able to give it. And I'm very grateful and I just take a nap. You do the dishes in the morning and it's your meditation. That's awesome. That's so great. I'm so glad. And one of the other ways I show myself self-love is getting a housekeeper to do my laundry and my dishes. That is huge. Like I no longer do tasks that don't bring me joy. I don't do it just because I have to as a wife and a mother, right? That you can outsource stuff you don't like. And that is a huge light bulb moment. When if you can outsource things that do not bring you joy, do it. It's incredible. It is so freeing. It's so joyful. And you're able to better serve the world, right? I always talk about this. When you don't feel obligated, like we've been probably drilled by our mothers on what makes a good wife and what makes a good daughter-in-law, right? These are all the things you got to do. But then not everyone is the same, and we're not our mothers, right? So you have to decide, what do you enjoy doing? Like I love the act of cooking on most days, but I hate doing the dishes. I hate cleaning the countertops. I hate sweeping my kitchen floors. I hate folding the laundry. And so I have now outsourced that. I get somebody to come help me 3 days a week with all of that stuff, which is amazing. And so I have more time to do the things that I want to do and that I love to do. Buying good quality clothing and shoes. That's something else that is self-love. I used to shop I still shop for bargains and deals, but I only go to the shops that I really like, right? So like J. Crew and Ann Taylor and Loft, and I'll only shop at those stores. Like I used to go to like Forever 21 and stores that I knew for me wasn't a good fit, or I knew that maybe the clothes weren't of good quality, but I felt like that's what I deserved. I always told myself this is only the place that I can shop at because that's where the prices are cheap. But now I know that I am worth dressing well, that I'm worth good, beautiful shoes, and I am worth putting on beautiful things, beautiful jewelry. And I used to like buy $5, $6 earrings because I thought that's all I could afford. But today, like maybe I don't buy earrings as often, but when I do buy them, I make sure that it's something that I absolutely love, and I don't feel guilt over spending maybe $40 or $50 on a pair of earrings, right? It all comes down to, this is all small acts of self-love because you feel like you're deserving of it. Like you'd probably buy a $40 pair of earrings for a friend, but we feel bad buying it for ourselves, right? Like who am I to deserve that, but my friend deserves it. Like what? No. To pamper yourself that makes you happy. Yes, of course, I get massages, I get pedicures. Those are all ways that I show myself self-love. And one of the biggest things that I did, this was actually a struggle for me, is that every morning I'd walk into my bedroom and I'd make my bed, right? And the comforter just wasn't the right size for our bed. We thought at the time it was. We'd just gone along with it forever. And one day I just woke up and I was like, I really don't like the way my bed looks when I walk into my bedroom. And so I ended up ordering a really expensive comforter and a comforter cover, right? Duvet and a duvet cover, and matching pillows. And I made my husband buy 2 bedside tables that were proportionally the right size for our bedroom and our bed. Because before we used to have this massive king size bed and tiny little bedside tables. And it just looked all wrong when you walked into the bedroom. And then, so we bought the right bedside tables and we bought beautiful lamps. And I went to TJ Maxx and I bought myself beautiful tulips, fake tulips that I could put on the side of my bed so that every morning when I woke up, I would be able to see tulips. They're my favorite flowers. And I wanted to be able to like just look in my bedroom and feel like I'd walked into a hotel room, right? Those are all ways that you can show yourself self-love, and it comes from acknowledging that it's okay to take care of yourself and to make yourself feel desirable, to make your house feel desirable. and you don't have to deprive yourself. And you don't, not everything involves money. And we can talk about that in another day on this course. But today I wanted to end with that, for me, the missing piece that finally wasn't missing anymore was when my coach called me out on the fact as to how much I disliked me. I despised me. And I had no idea. I had no idea until she called me out on it. Because every time she would congratulate me or tell me that I'd done great, I was always like, yeah, I could have done better. Like, I don't think it was good enough. And she was like, oh my gosh, you do this. This is like a pattern for you. And no wonder you're hitting a wall with your business, because if you cannot, like and grow your team, like if you can't like yourself, how do you manage to attract the things that you want into your life? And that was such an aha moment for me. So the next 2 days, it's going to be all about self-love, my loves. All right. I hope you found tonight helpful and an eye-opener. And let me share with me, when you wrote about self-love, like what are the positive things that came out of it, and what are the negative emotions that came out of it? Because those are very important. Don't quiet that down, because that's where you need to do the work, right? Like the positive words are awesome, and that's absolutely what we are striving for. But those beliefs that come up, that the little voice that says, yeah, but really self-love, like who has time for that? Like if you had a thought like that came up, or like self-love is expensive, write those down, because those are really important things that your mind is trying to tell you, right? Don't ignore it. Don't brush it under the rug, because those are ways that, unless you acknowledge it, those are ways you're going to sabotage yourself when it comes to self-love. Right? So it's really important to acknowledge those. All right. So I hope you guys had fun today as we launched this mini course. I loved doing this for you guys. I really did. I hope you loved it just as much. Let me know. And I haven't decided what time I'm going to go live yet. I'm sorry. I'm a last minute kind of girl. I don't do planning way out of time, which I know is probably not that convenient for you. But I promise I'll make a decision tonight, and I'll post it on the Facebook group. Okay? And I encourage you to invite your friends to do this mini course with you. And even if you missed today, it's never too late to catch up and do it on the replay. And I encourage you to invite your friends so that you can do it together. All right. It's so important that you do this kind of work together. It's always enjoyable when you walk this journey with somebody else that can support you, that can hold you accountable. Because it's very easy to kind of listen to this kind of messaging and be like, yeah, like I'll get to it. But if you have somebody who holds you accountable, it's phenomenal. Yay, come on, I'm so glad. It was a great start to your day. All right. Okay, I'm gonna bid you guys good night, because it's 9:20 in the evening here. I'm gonna go relax and watch one of my guilty pleasure shows. If you're in America, you might know The Real Housewives. I'm a big Beverly Hills fan. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's one of my guilty pleasures. And I'm going to go treat myself to it. All right. Okay. Good night, you guys. I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.